Hello there, I'm Akaze, the Success Maestro. Yes, today I want to point out to you or remind you about how important it is to have a backup plan for indeed anything in life. So, what's a backup plan? What's a backup plan? Sometimes they call it what we call it what a plan B. A plan B. So, simply put, what's a backup plan? A backup plan is a plan that you put in place, in advance. Take note what in advance to help you mitigate or tackle problems that may arise if things would go wrong in the future. You put it in advance, you put those plans in advance, or put a plan in advance to tackle situations that may arise if things will go wrong what in the future. That is what I can call what a backup what plan. And mind you, life happens. Things sometimes go wrong. Even though we pray, we believe and we trust God that things will go well, but sometimes things go wrong. So when things go wrong, what will you do? What will I do when things go wrong? You need to what have a backup plan. So today, I'm going to ask you about a number of questions, about maybe 10 or 11 questions, to that will I believe will prompt you what make a backup what plan. And mind you, the list is inexhaustive, but I have 10, about 10 or so or 11 questions to ask you that what I believe what will prompt you what to have what a backup plan. So are you ready? Let's get right into it. Yes. So number one question: what will you do if you lose your job today, or maybe next month? What will you do? Do you have savings? Have you made some savings, or have you set aside some savings that will last you like 3 months or 6 months if you lose that job? Or do you have a side hustle that is going to provide income for you if you lose that job? Or do you have a network? Do you have a network that's if you lose that job, you can easily go to them and they will you have people in your network that can rally around you to help you secure another job, or help you get some bring business your way if you have a side hustle. Do you have do you have a network? These are questions to ask. And number two, the second question I want to ask is, what will you do if precious business of yours, if it flops, due to maybe internal or external factors? You know, maybe the government brings about a restriction or brings about some regulations that stop your business. What would you do? What will you do? Have you diversified your business? Do you have multiple streams or multiple sources of income, or do you have multiple businesses at hand? These are questions what to ask. Remember the period of COVID. COVID taught us a lot of lessons. I think I mean people who were I saw I knew I read about people who were into photography. During COVID, nobody was doing weddings, nobody was doing birthdays, nobody was doing photo shoots. So automatically their livelihood was lost. So if photography was the only source of was only business they were doing, then they were seriously in trouble. They were seriously what? In trouble. Okay, so that's the second one. How about the third one now? What you do if your spouse begins to what? Misbehave. You are married, but your spouse begins to what? To misbehave. Do you have a support system that can help you at that point in time? Do you have a support system? Do you have a third party that you can reach out to if your spouse begins to misbehave? These are things that you need to what have what a backup what plan for. This is a very funny one. Let me tell you about the fourth one. What do you do if you lose your car keys? Do you have a backup spare? Do you have a set of spare keys at home? I made sure that every car that I bought, or every car that I had, I had a spare key. I had a spare key. In fact, a spare key somewhere is a particular park somewhere. You know, the spare key for my two cars is there. Is there. What happens if you lose your car keys? Or what happens if you lock up somehow? Maybe you have a car that has that has a system that maybe if you opened it and you didn't start the car, there's some cars that are like that. Maybe for some minutes, it's going to lock itself up. It's going to automatically lock, and then maybe you left the key inside the car. You've not started, but you left your key inside the car, and then it's locked up. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You need to have what? You need to have some what? You need to have some spare keys what as a backup. Now let me ask you, what will you do if your major clients? decide to what ditch you, or your clients go bankrupt. It has happened to me before. It has happened to me before. What will you do? Do you have multiple clients? Do you have other clients, or do you have means of getting new clients, or are you constantly making efforts to get new clients, maybe via social media or via other means? It has happened to me whereby a major client that I had for many years, they just decided, I mean, for some reason, maybe internal reasons or so, they just stopped giving me work. They stopped giving me work as a consultant, you know. But thank God that, there were other clients came up, and then things we moved on. Moved on. So what will happen if you lose what a major client, or lose your major clients? What will happen? Will that be the end of your business? Will that be the end of life? So these are things what to really consider. Now, let me ask you this: what will you do if the bank where you kept your money is liquidated? I mean, you wake up one morning and then the central bank of your country, like it's happened in my country before, it hasn't happened this year, you know. The central bank of your country comes up and says, "Oh, XYZ bank has been liquidated." What will you do if all your funds are there? Do you have funds in other accounts in other banks? In fact, it is dangerous to have all your funds, or majority of your funds, fixed, or domiciled what in one bank. It is dangerous. It is dangerous. You should have money in other accounts, in other banks, so that if this one fails, the other one will be available. If this bank is liquidated, you will not be one helter skelter. Okay, even these days, people have digital banks. They are digital banks, online banks that you put your money there. It's not a physical bank, but when you need your money, you go, you withdraw it, you transfer it to whatever account you want to transfer. You go withdraw your money. Another question I want to ask: what will you do? We are talking about backups now. What will you do if your fiance or fiancé comes and tells you that, look, they ain't doing anymore? They're pulling out of the relationship. What will happen to you? Have you prepared yourself emotionally for such heartbreak? Or are you going to go crazy like some people do? Are you going to go crazy? Are you going to go mad? Are you going to be checked into a mental home because your fiancé or fiancé said, oh, he or she was not, interested in the relationship anymore? You need to have a backup plan. You need to have a backup plan. Prepare yourself emotionally for things that may happen that you might not expect. You need to. Now, let me also ask you, what will you do if your country's currency suddenly collapses? I mean, the banking system of your country just collapses. Do you have, part of your money maybe in foreign exchange, domiciled somewhere? You know, do you have money in foreign banks, or do you have money in this digital? There are some digital banks. I don't want to mention names now because I don't want to be advertising for any of them. But I use one or two of them. You know, do you have a foreign? I mean, your money in foreign exchange in some of these online platforms or online banks. Such that if, for example, your country's currency or the banking system collapse. It happened in some country. It happened in Greece some years ago, some years back. It happened in Greece. It happened in Greece, so it's not a strange thing. It happened in Greece. So what happens if the currency goes? I mean, the currency collapses or the banking system collapses, and then with all your money there. But if you have money in some foreign bank or foreign account, or foreign exchange or foreign currency, you can easily convert that. So also you can easily convert that, and what that will be what a backup what for you. That will become what a backup for you. So now, what will you do? For example, maybe your husband or wife travels abroad, which I know so many people that are watching me, you are in that situation. Maybe, the Japan trend, your husband has gone or your wife has gone with the plan that, oh, he or she is coming back to come and pick you. Now, what will you do if they don't come back? What will you do if they don't come back? Have you prepared yourself for that eventuality if it happens? Or are you saying, oh, God forbid? Eh? Eh? Are you saying what? God forbid? You need to prepare for that eventuality. That if this person, I mean, I'm sure you've heard of people whose spouses traveled abroad in the name of greener pastures, in the name of, okay, I'm going there, and when I'm ready or when I'm settled, I'll bring you along. I bring the wife or bring the husband and the children along. But 10 years, 15 years down the line, 20 years, they haven't come back. They haven't come back. Neither have they taken their spouses abroad. So what will you do if that's your situation? What will you do? Have you prepared yourself mentally for that? You need to have a backup plan. You need to have a backup plan. Let me speak to our graduates or our students who are in school who are planning to, who are going to, graduate, or if you already graduated. What happens if you don't get a job? You don't get a job in 3 months, in 6 months, or 1 year, or 2 years, or more. What happens? Are you stacking up skills? Are you stacking up some marketable skills that if you don't get a job, a 9 to 5 job, you can use those skills and make money? Do you see what I'm saying? You need to stack up skills. You need to stack up some skills so that what you can be marketable, so that even if you don't get a job in time, you would do what? You find a job for yourself. You create business for yourself. And that's why I encourage young people, who are going to school. I say, look, we didn't know these things when we were young, when we were in school. We didn't know. I learned it. I got to know of these things while I was serving, because I saw people come who had skills. I didn't have any skill. I was trying to now scramble to get skills. But I tell people who are in school these days that, look, get a skill. If in fact, start using the skill while you're in school, so that when you get out into the employment market, even if there's no job, you will not be handicapped. You will not be hold up in your parents' house, still depending on your parents even after you have graduated. You will do what? You will be able to find you'll be able to find business or create what? An income for yourself. So these are what? Very, 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 very important. Yes, another question. What will you do if your country, for any reason, collapses? The economy, the things just collapse, and the country what is thrown into chaos. What will you do? Do you have the means, or have you made a provision for you to take your family and escape, and take them somewhere safe? What happens? We've seen countries that all of a sudden they descended into civil war, or all of a sudden the economy collapsed, the country went into a recession. The country became a refugee camp overnight. We've seen situations like that. Do you have the means to take your family out of the country? To move them out of the country to a safe place. That's a question for you. You need to have a backup plan for that. I should have mentioned like 10 or 11 now questions, which I said I'm going to mention. So all these questions, I thought about them and say these are questions just to stir you up. There are so many other questions so many other areas of life that we can talk about, that you need a backup plan. But these are just some examples. You need a backup plan. That is sacrosanct for situations in life. And that's the purpose of this video. So I want to encourage you, all these things I've mentioned, if you've not yet gotten a backup plan, kindly do that. In your finances, in your marital life, in your career, in business, in your job, with your clients, with friends, you know, even in partnership. Let me add another word. You maybe you're a partner with somebody. Do you have a backup plan that what if that person reneges on his obligations? What if that person fails on his or her obligations? Will you be stranded? You need to have a backup plan for that. So having a backup plan in life, I believe, is a key to avoiding stories that touch. Is a key factor in avoiding stories that touch, like they say, and also is a key factor in achieving success in life. So I want to encourage you, have a backup plan. In my next video, I'll see you, and till then, stay blessed, and I'll see you on top. Take care.